Hey guys, some more thoughts on Matthew 4:10, and that would be Luke 4:8. Now, I did a video. It was one of my very first videos, and that's long. You don't have to go and watch the whole thing. Just go and collect all the verse information. It's the video about proskuneo and latrebo. Who is it used of? And just collect all the verse information there so you can look at each instance for yourself. Now looking at Matthew 4:10, then Jesus said to him, "Begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve." Now that word worship and the word serve are two words, proskuneo and latrevo. And one basically means to lick a hand like a dog, or to show the top of your head, and the other one means to serve in a religious context. But you see this occurrence again at Luke chapter 4 verse 8. Jesus answered, "Is it written, worship the Lord your God and serve him only?" So what's key, what I want to hone in on, is that both words are being used, worship and serve. Those are the two things that are going on here. Now, the first thing I want to take a look at and address is the way the Trinitarian has to look at this verse. He has to, and I'm gonna tell you right now, the Trinitarian doesn't even do this, but this is what's happening in his brain. What he does is you're just jettisoning what it says. You're not really paying attention. Then Jesus said to him, "Begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve." What you have to do if you're a Trinitarian to make this verse correct is you have to say, you shall worship Yahovah, your divine essence, and it only shall you serve. Because, triune God, it doesn't make any sense to be a he, does it? You tell me, does that make any sense? That a divine essence is a he? It's an it. Now, I want to go back to other references that are made like this and get an understanding for what it was used of. I don't think anyone in modern Christianity is going to doubt that the Jewish people in the Bible had a unitary belief in God, that he was one person. And what the Trinitarian likes to do is actually blend their modern Western ideas into the text. When the Jewish people were saying Ichad, it means one, just like the number one in English. So if you say, I'm one family, yes, you would assume that there's multiple inhabitants in that category. And the thing that they share to make a family is a bond either through blood or marriage. But the problem you have is that when the word God is used in the Old Testament, it's always presented as a singular person. And the passages that are about who God is always in the singular person. And you have to apply a different understanding. And if you want to prove this, look no further than the Pharisaical Jews of today. The tradition has survived from what, 2000 BC, 3000 BC, all the way until now. So we know what the Jewish people believe. They believe there was one God that was one person. And when they said, Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad, they were actually saying that God is one God. There's not multiple gods. You have to look at the context of the Old Testament. They were surrounded by all these other gods. So that statement that came forth was to simply say, the Lord our God is one, the one God. Not that he's a plurality of persons, is that he by himself is God, and none of the other hosts of heaven are God. Ramphim, Belial, Melech, these were not God. That was the reason that phrase is there. Now, so in your mind as a Trinitarian, do you agree with that statement? Do you agree that everyone in the Old Testament thought God was one person? And before you say no, you need to consult your scholars. Even William Lane Craig freely admits that the Trinity is not taught in the Old Testament. One of the foremost defenders of the Trinitarian faith. So let's see if Jesus is saying the same thing that they said. Exodus 23:25, worship Yahovah your God, and his blessing will be on your food and water. I will take away sickness from among you. Deuteronomy 6:13, fear Yahovah your God, serve him only, and take your oaths in his name. Deuteronomy 10:20, fear Yahovah your God, and serve him, hold fast to him, and take your oaths in his name. 1 Samuel 7:3, so Samuel said to all the Israelites, if you are returning to Yahovah with all your hearts, then rid yourselves of the foreign gods and the Ashtoreths, and commit yourselves to Yahovah and serve him only, and he will deliver you out of the land of the Philistines. Isaiah 30:22 is actually not one to use, and then we go further down. And we had Deuteronomy 6:13 and 14. You shall fear Yahovah your God and serve him, and shall swear by his name. Deuteronomy 10:20. You shall fear Yahovah your God, him shall you serve. Joshua 24:14. And therefore fear Yahovah and serve him in sincerity and truth. 1 Samuel 7:3. And Samuel spoke to all. Sorry, that one shouldn't be there either. So let's go back and look at what Jesus said. Then Jesus said to him, begone, Satan, for it is written, you shall worship the Lord your God, and him only shall you serve. Now, let's investigate this a little further. Let's read these verses, how the Trinitarian would have to understand them. And I promise you, he doesn't even do this. But this is how he'd have to read them. Worship Yahovah, the only divine essence, and its blessing will be on your food and water. Deuteronomy, fear Yahovah, the only divine essence. Serve it only, and take your oath in its name. Deuteronomy 10, fear Yahovah, your only divine essence. Serve it. Hold fast to it, and take your oaths in its name. 1 Samuel 7:3, so Samuel said to all the Israelites, if you're returning to Yahovah with all your hearts, then rid yourselves of foreign essences and the Ashtoreths, and commit yourselves to Yahovah and serve the divine essence only, and it will deliver you out of the hands of the Philistines. So you get my point. You actually, and I promise you, if you're a Trinitarian, you have to look at it this way. You have no choice, because the triune God is a being. It's not a person. The Father's a person, the Son's a person, the Spirit's a person, but the triune God is not. And that is according to your oldest scholarship. So my question is, when you see what Jesus said, he says the same thing that is said in the Old Testament. I think we can all agree. Now, how did he carry this out? You do have a massive problem, because I challenge you to produce a verse where Jesus is worshiping the triune God, number one. Number two, I challenge you to find a verse where Jesus is worshiping and serving the Holy Spirit. And you can come up and say, well, it wasn't his job to worship the Holy Spirit. You can do all that stuff, and I can't stop you from saying it. But does that make any sense to you? If he is going to say to you, you worship and serve only one what? And then you have to find the teaching that takes place between Exodus, Deuteronomy, 1 Samuel, Isaiah, all these books, and into the New Testament, you got to find a teaching that redefines Exodus 23:25 to your understanding. Worship Yahovah your God, and his blessing will be on your food and water. I will take away sickness from among you. You have to start retranslating these verses, and you have to come up with a teaching that gives you permission to do that. If you arbitrarily do this, then you're doing it of your own will. You're using your own mind and coming up with a retranslation of scriptures. But anywhere it says to serve him only, it has to be the triune God. And everyone will admit there are no Trinitarians in the Bible, period. You have to make your case from later revelations, but we know for sure that they don't have any in the Old Testament. The Trinity was foreign to them. The idea of three gods or three persons in one God did not exist. You have to understand that. And the only way you can take on a new teaching is to say that Jesus explained this somewhere. And I challenge you to find that. And you need to think about that. You need to say, where's the teaching? And man, it's so clear. And how did Jesus do this? When he was honoring the scriptures, and he was saying there's only one you shall worship and one you shall serve. There's one you should proskuneo and one you should latrevo. And that word to serve, it is never used of Jesus. Never. It is only used of the Father in a positive context. Like I said, see my old video. You don't have to watch the whole thing. Just write down all the verses and see where it's used. There are several places where God turns people over to latrevo, the host of heaven, or to latrevo, something other than him. And it's very bad. But it's always used of the Father. Even in the book of Revelations, Jesus is not latrevoed. He's not served in a religious sense. To worship simply means to bow your head or to lick someone's hand like a dog. So Jesus did not latrevo the Holy Spirit. So he would be breaking his own commandment according to your teaching. He did not teach us to worship the Holy Spirit, yet he said only him shall you serve. He did not worship the divine essence, yet he says only him shall you serve. Then him to you is not a him at all. It's an it. It's a being. It's an essence. It's the only thing that holds the Trinity together. It's not the Father, Son, and Spirit that holds the Trinity together. It's the fact that they all possess the divine nature. That is the triune God. It's an it. It's an idol in the truest sense of the word. It's something made to represent something that's in heaven. So think about that, and don't fall for it, man. Just read it for what it says, study those verses, and just understand that God is represented the same way by Jesus. And he's telling Satan this. So he's telling Satan what the commandment is. And then ask yourself, how did Jesus honor that commandment? He did that by worshiping his Father alone. That's how he kept the commandment. And I challenge anyone on that one again. Find one passage where he worships and serves the triune God. Find one passage where he worships and serves the Holy Spirit. He doesn't. He only worships and serves the Father. And he says only him. So even in that context, even if you want to say, for it is written, only Yahovah, the divine essence, you shall serve. Well, the only divine essence he serves is the one possessed by the Father. That's it. So that is how he showed you how he kept that commandment. And then go back and read these verses and see that the language is identical. And we know that the Jews only believed in one person, in God. No one's going to argue that. None of your scholars will side with you on this. So if you hold that view, you truly are alone with anyone who holds any respect whatsoever. So that's how they understood it. And that's how Jesus understood it. And that's how Jesus kept it. No one is latrevoed but the Father, which makes absolutely no sense in a Trinitarian doctrine, especially in the book of Revelations. They should both be Latrovo easily, but they're not. So I hope that challenges your thinking a little bit, and God bless.